Yes, I am here. I am here. My apologies, everyone. Okay, let's do this because we are on the road and we're a couple minutes late, but everything's gonna be all right. All right, so let's do our intro. I know once again, last minute, didn't give anybody any warning. Like nobody's up right now. I know, right? So y'all just gonna ride with me. Hopefully you guys can hear me. All right, so like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. First person in, let me get a comment in the comment box. D Scott, goddamn, I just looked down and you're here. Thank you, brother. Thank you for being in here. Okay, so we're gonna continue speaking about this young lady, Miss Yonders. Um, I got the gist of what she's saying. I still didn't finish it yet. I continued listening in while I was getting ready. And yeah, so it's the typical. This seems less like pining for white acceptance as much. Well, excuse me, I said that wrong. It's less because she has the white man, so it's less about pining for white male validation, which she's still pining for, and more about pining for white acceptance by regurgitating very anti-black male rhetoric, right? And to the point where we're not even just speaking about black American men. So she brings up black men in the UK or some study that they did, finding that much of the foster care system is some um, mixed children fathered by black men. She does the whole, well, why is this problem following you guys everywhere you go? In America, they're increasing out of wedlock birth rate and HIV rate um, amongst these non-black men because of black men. So she literally is regurgitating anti-black talking points. 6%. So apparently 6 or so% of the US population is like the worst thing on the face of the earth. And now we're really speaking race talk because we're not saying that it's just how black men have been socialized in America, because now she's speaking about the UK. So once you start doing that, that is eugenics talk. Once you start doing that, you're doing race talk. You're not even doing socialization talk. You're not saying, okay, these Negroes are deficient or defective because of such and so forth in U.S. history or in history. These Negroes are deficient. So now we got to, and I'm sorry, I got to say that hard N-word. Now we're saying these niggers are defective because they are just defective, right? There's something about the XY chromosome when you mix it with black males that just makes them they're just horrible. They're horrible creatures. So that's where she is with it. And this is the evolution of some of the Cynthia G talking points, right? So this is more than just socialization, right? So she's doing the whole, well, is it racism? Right? And there is some talk about Tommy Sotomayor. So you see this often with women like this. They start the clock with Tommy Sotomayor, right? His misandry. When I was in high school, I came across a Tommy Sotomayor video, and oh my God, it was so traumatic, and my self-esteem, and oh my God, and he's going around giving lectures. Ma'am, you need to talk to older people, right? Namely black men, older people. This conversation goes so much. This is way before. This goes to the plantation, lady. This goes to women like you pining for masses member on the plantation. Actually, if you really want to talk about it, this goes back to the west coast of Africa, and there's brothers that could take you back to Egypt on this. Really, if you, man, this conversation might be millennials old if you really want to start it there. This conversation is millennials old if you really want to start it there, young lady, right? You could start it where you want to start it. No, you want to start it with Tommy in the aughts, in the 20 teens. You want to start it with that, right? It's how quick we forget. The Color Purple was a damn black male hit piece that came out in the 80s. We forgot about that, huh? We forgot about that. We forgot about Waiting to Excel. We forgot about Four Color Girls. We forgot about all of that. We forgot about all the misandrous music in the 90s. All y'all do is hyper focus on some rappers saying the B word, right? And oh my God, Nelly swiped a credit card down her backside, right? So she's appealing to white racist society by pretty much begging them to come and save black women from black men. So this is more than just appeal to white men and interracial sex and marriage. This is an appeal to white society, right? And I get it, right? I get it. So and she said it, she continues to say divestment is black women's feminism. And you know, like I said on the previous video, that's great. I'm happy she called it, she said it. So now there's no more speculation. We have, you know, a member of this space, of this particular black women empowerment space. Yes, she has a small channel. It's larger than mine, but it's a small channel with some 3,000 subscribers, right? But she called the thing a thing. She said what she meant, right? She said what she meant. Divestment is black women's feminism. No, ma'am. First wave feminism, not so much. Second wave feminism and on, yeah, that's black women's feminism too. Y'all just mad y'all got screwed out the deal by white women. Call a thing a thing. Thank you, Victor Creed, for the super chat. Good morning to you too, bro. Morning. Right? I'm on the expressway now, so I can't see anything other than that. Right? So yeah, so you know, no. And shout out to the funky academic Army Osei Frimpong for that video that he put out showing the white women saying, yeah, we wasn't gonna let black women get all these benefits without us getting some. So even for the women like Yanni, who's like, well, what were we supposed to do? Y'all wasn't building, type of language that she was using. So now y'all, you know, so let me get this right. The white man and the white woman used you against you and black men, and it's black men's fault? And so you fast forward a few decades later, now y'all with the divestment movement because the white man and the white woman that y'all swear by, we're unearthing more and more evidence that they outsmarted you, they played you, they used you to undermine not just black men, but you. And y'all are still harping on some black women have the fastest growing entrepreneurial rate. We're starting businesses faster than everyone else. You're starting businesses faster than everyone else when entrepreneurship is at a 40-year low across the country. Most of these are like self-employed, like people that's starting businesses and they're the only employee. Over 95% of of black businesses, because of black women, are just black women. Y'all don't have no employees. You know what that means? That means y'all are cash strapped. And that's not an insult to you. That's you trying to use feel-good rhetoric to feel better about the fact that you got screwed. You have these college degrees. They're not paying you anything for these jobs at these jobs. And so y'all going to start your own businesses and still not making no money. Once again, that's not making fun of you. That's, you know, something that Mr. Z realizes. And I know all of my brothers, if y'all are married, if y'all have girlfriends, if y'all got homegirls, y'all realize how obsessed they are with feel-good stories. Oh my God, they're so obsessed with feel-good stories. Positivity on the level of delusion, right? And that's all you hear. That's what you hear from this young lady. Like, we're better than these Negroes. Please, God, white people, come save us from these Negroes. Look, I will recite all the racist stuff that you say, and I'll say it with even more gusto because I'm a black woman, and they can't say I'm racist. Ma'am, you're racist. You're anti-black male, and that's okay. That's your right as a human being. That's your prerogative. So let that be evidence even more. The black women that are married to black men are sounding like this. Black single women are sounding like this. Black women with white husbands are sounding like this. Crystalline cares in anyone. This is what the neoliberal assessment looked like. And shout out to all of you, either ADOS, FBA, or black immigrant that raised your children. Now, race wasn't really a factor. It's about the money. It's not. The only color I see is green, right? Money trumps everything. Now those daughters are out here sounding like this lady. All you black Caribbean, all you black continental Africans that raise your, these black Americans, they use All you upperly mobile, liberal, or conservative black people, I'm gonna raise my children. I'm not gonna buy my son any Jordans, and I'm not gonna have him driving around in these old school cars with big rims. And I'm gonna keep him away from this type of culture, and he's not gonna be listening to rap. Fast forward, your kids sound like this. I'm gonna keep him away and keep her away from that ghetto culture. Fast forward, your daughters sound like this. You don't balance it out. This is what a crap ton of respectability looks like. All that respectability politics y'all pushing on y'all children. This is what it looks like when they're adults. So let me get this right. You move your kids to the burbs. Then you hit them with 10 tons of respectability. Right? So they're around the white kids. They're going through it. Oh, Steph Cole admitted it. They're going through it. They're drooling over the white boys who are ignoring them. But it's black boys' fault. So one or two black boys in high school makes a colorist comment or just doesn't find her attractive. Right? Or she just doesn't run in the same friend circle, so they don't ever really speak to her. And she lives off of that for the rest of her life. That's traumatic for her for the rest of her life. But all the white kids, the white guys that ignored her in middle school, in high school, in college, that doesn't mean anything. But the one or two black guys that ignored her or that didn't find her attractive, she swears by that for the rest of her life. And then they still chase after that white male validation. And then use the black guys, the black boys, and then the black men when she's an adult, a young adult, for ignoring her or just not finding her attractive. That's the biggest issue. What about you lived in a white neighborhood. You went to white schools. You had a crush on all of your white homegirls, your white friends, your white girlfriends. You had a crush on all of their brothers. Their brothers knew and they did not reciprocate. But that's ignored. That's not a thing. Right? So Miss Yonders is married. She made sure to stress the MRS. Y'all know she had to stress that, right? She got the white husband, and it's still not good enough because we still got to salt the earth by talking crap about black men. So this is, like I said before, a neoliberal assessment of masculinity and manhood. And if you're doing a neoliberal assessment of masculinity and manhood right now in the 21st century, you will deem white men as gods and black men as deficient. And because we live in an ahistorical society, you will start the clock as soon as possible, like yesterday, and say, yeah, black men are defective and deficient, and we should abort them. Black males are defective and deficient. You will handpick out of context statistics. And that's all she wrote. Right? And that's where this lady is. You know, and what makes this tragic is, once again, these people have the ears of the young. So this young lady says she was traumatized by coming upon some Tommy Sotomayor videos when she was young, and now she's gonna what? You're gonna traumatize young boys and young black boys and young black girls with your type of rhetoric? And what's so sad about this is, okay, you, Miss Yonders, you ended up with a white guy. I keep on saying this. Y'all, what's tragic is what y'all are leading other black young women and girls to. You're pining for white men and their validation. You're pining for white society to accept black women in a vacuum. They're never going to do that. They didn't build this system to say, okay, you know what? We're going to discriminate and be racist only to the black males. Yeah, only to the black males initially. Only to the black males initially. Yeah, social dominance order. But you still get the residuals. And you can't distance yourself enough to not get the residuals. Don't y'all get... Wait, let me get this right. Black girls and women who parents made away, lived the burbs around white folks. Y'all dealt with their low level and high level of anti-blackness and racism. Many of you are all the way in your 30s, about to touch 40, still never been married. Y'all been around the white guys literally your entire life. Y'all in your late 30s, early 40s, no white husband, and it's black men's fault? Y'all been around the white guys. Some of y'all are just getting married at 38, 41, 42 to the white guys. So y'all been in how many dates with white men? Been in how many situations with white men? You're just getting married, if you ever get married. And that's black men's fault, Miss Yonder? Right. It's black men's fault? Just in it's she's playing down racism, anti-blackness. She's playing down black misandry, and that's cool, right? How does this work for her in the long run? It doesn't work. For her, she's married to a white guy, and like we already know, when you're married to the white racist dude, you got to keep on regurgitating anti-black talking points, particularly about black men, just to let him know that you're never going anywhere, and if you do, it's definitely not going to be with a black guy, right? Give me a second, y'all. Give me a second. Victor Creed said, Lisa Turtle syndrome. Give me a second, y'all. Give me a second. Yes, I'm getting breakfast. No, it is not Popeyes. Shout out to y'all. Indigo, I'm going to get to that question in a minute. Indigo says, define business. I'm going to get to that in a second. Yes, I am back. I am back. Hopefully, you guys can still hear me and y'all are still here. Alrighty. So, yeah, so the young lady, look, you know, for me to speak this way, for me to have this channel, and when we speak about these type of things, I speak this way because I attempt to put myself in those people's shoes, right? What would create a black person that speaks this way, right? And is it intracommunal anti-blackness to a certain extent? Yes. Is it the way you've assessed the black community through a racist lens that you never critiqued? Yes. Is it a neoliberal assessment of the black community writ large and of black men particularly? Yes. Now, going to what Indigo said by business. This is when you hear people, black people in particular, do this entrepreneurial business talk all the time. And this is just me speaking now. This is, in my speculation, right? Wait a minute. Train tracks, train tracks, train tracks, train tracks. Actually, I'm a little premature. Now it's train tracks, train tracks. Right? Okay, there we go. When you see that, what I consider is this is the language. So before I could put words to it, and I'm glad kind of Adam Curtis kind of spoke to this, is like, well, now we're defining people by the money you make even more, right? And like, when I hear people speak this entrepreneurial talk, what I hear them saying is, I'm a lowercase m master, right? I'm a lowercase m master. I am a creator. I'm a creator. I'm not a taker, right? I make things happen. I don't take from the system. I give to the system. Unlike the rest of these Negroes, unlike the negative stereotypes the society has of black people, it is, to me at least, black people combating against decades of like welfare queen language and like bummy black men language. It's, I am a creator. Y'all let me know if y'all kind of hear that too when you hear black people just going on and on. And I think this is why oftentimes you see black people, namely black women, fall for all of these like pyramid schemes, right? Which is one of the reasons why they're still in church and black men are not. But right, because I think it is that, look, I'm a creator. I create, I make things happen. I am not living off the system. I am not siphoning wealth from the system. I am not one of these people, right? And I think, at least that's what I hear when I hear business. When I hear, we start the most businesses, we have bought into the American dream, and we're doing the things that is said on paper that's going to allow for us to elevate in this society, right? We're doing what we're supposed to do. We're doing what we're told to do, right? And it is pining for acceptance. It's saying, look, what you said, this is what we're supposed to do, and we're doing it, right? And we're doing it, So, yeah, a crap ton of anti-blackness, right? And that's what I hear this young lady engaging in. Just a crap ton of anti-blackness, And once again, shout out to her for this. Thank you for letting us know. Right? Thank you for letting us know. We knew, but thank you for validating it for us. Divestment is black women's feminism. And it's going to go over like second wave feminism for black women. A lot of hoopla, one or two people get in position, one or two black women benefit, and the rest of y'all are going to be told to live vicariously through Serena Williams, through Ketanji, through Kamala. That's what's going to happen. And it's not even going to be the majority of divestors. White society just does not work that way. Latinos just don't. Black people don't work that. No one works that way. Right? The whole femicide talk, well, you hear certain outlets covering it, but for the most part, we're going muffled. Ma'am, people like you, women like you, admit that black men haven't built anything. That's what you say, right? Black men haven't built anything. So you're being muffled by who exactly? Let's walk through, let's take what you're saying to its logical conclusion. Black women are screaming at them out the mountaintops about this femicide talk, right? Right. Shout out to Toya. Toya said, I really like the word crap ton, right? It's not metric ton, right? It's crap ton, right? But okay, let's walk through your logical conclusion, ma'am. Black men don't control anything, they haven't built anything. So what you're saying is the same white racist society is muffling black women's voices when black women talk about how black men kill black women in mass. Okay. Or could it possibly be that y'all sound insane? Right? Do you really want to start having the conversation about bidirectional physical violence in the black community? Do you really want to start? Because the reason why they're ignoring you, because they don't want to open the can of worms of who initiates most of the domestic violence situations in these communities, regardless of race. Because white women and black women initiate this domestic violence. They're going to ignore you because you're going to open a can of worms they're not ready to have a conversation about. Right? I like that Indigo Flow spelled in mass the correct way. Right? So this young lady, once again, it's just spieling off this racist talk. The reason why this matters is because she does have the white husband. And her channel is small, but this is what we're saying when we say these people are pining for white acceptance. They're using anti-black talking points against black men to say, look, white society, everything you say, everything you think, we say it and we think it. And because we're black women, we validate what you're saying. Indigo Flow said, former spelling bee champ. Well, that's my shortcoming. Spelling, woo. Y'all have heard Mr. Z speak. Mr. Z vocabulary is marginally good. I give myself a solid B in vocabulary, right? Like how large my vocabulary is. Solid B, right? Ask me to spell half of those words. So I can define them. I know what they mean. Clearly, I'm using them while I speak. Ask me to spell them, though. Out the window. Which is crazy because I can read the word, like I can come across the word and then be able to pronounce it, right? But then ask me to spell the word, that's a whole different conversation. Right? Thank you, Toya. Right. And yeah, so I'm about to come to a close. I've reached my destination. But, like I said, the reason why this young lady matters is because you can see the regurgitating of like all of, and it's not just white racist talking points and rhetoric. It's like a campaign. It's a propaganda campaign of, look, white society. Look, we're doing everything we're told. We're going to school. We're becoming industrious. We're entrepreneurs. We're starting businesses. We are regurgitating anti-black male rhetoric. We have a neoliberal assessment of men and masculinity, which automatically puts white men on top and black men on the bottom. We're literally doing everything we're told to do. Come get us from these Negroes. Come get us from Blacklandia, Blackistan, whatever you want to call it, the communita, whatever pejorative or negative terminology y'all want to call the black community, particularly black men. They're begging white society to accept them into white society. Right? They were raised in a particular neighborhood. They've gone to PWIs, right? All of that. Right? And as I remind y'all often, these are your bank tellers. These are your nurses, right? These are your teachers. This is the young lady that sits next to you in the cubicle at work. When you look down on her phone, you just glance. You're not trying to snoop. You glance and you see Cynthia G on her phone. You see Real Talk with Yanni on her phone. You see Paris Malone on her phone. Whether she's with a white man or not, whether she's single or not, whether she's with a black man or not. Right? And this is not to scare the black men that are listening to me, but this is to say, when you come across these women, y'all go on Y'all go to happy hour after work and you hear them make these one-off comments. Remember, this is what's animating it. Or fueling it, better yet. They sound like this about black men and boys. Anti-black as hell. And remember, notice whenever you hear these people speak this way, what's interesting is they're no longer just keeping it to the American context, right? They're making it a very race-based conversation. She used the UK as an example of black male deficiency, which means she's really making it a race conversation. This is how we get into eugenics, right? So it's not that you black men are just defective in America. You're even defective across the pond, across the Atlantic in the UK, which then becomes a race conversation. And this even further their point about aborting black males, right? Right? These people are they're anti, they are who they always wanted to be, psychologically and emotionally. You are the white woman that you set out to be, ma'am. You are her. You may not be getting all the accoutrement of her. You're not going to get all the social cachet that she has, right? You're not going to get all of that, but psychologically and emotionally, you are her. Congratulations. And your anger is that you don't get to have her phenotype. You don't get to have the phenotype, so that way you can fully capitalize, off of whiteness in this society. A particular brand of whiteness. And whenever you hear them speak this way, these particular women, notice they're doing that kind of upper middle class way of respectability, like white woman respectability, but upper middle class. That's why they speak about their entrepreneurship rate, right? That's why they speak like that. That's why they speak about their college enrollment rate, right? That's why they speak that way. It's, look, I'm literally doing everything I'm supposed to do, white daddy, white mommy. Black women are doing everything we're supposed to do, and we're still stuck here in this barrel with these other crabs called black men. It's not just sad, and it's not just depressing. You could have like drew a map and walked right to where this lady is, right to where Cynthia G is. And remember, we're 50 years out of Jim Crow. Only 50 years out of Jim Crow, they wanted black men to build Wakanda. Only 50 years out of Jim Crow. These particular black women wanted black men to build Wakanda so they could sit next to the upper middle class white woman and say, look, my diamond carat ring is bigger than yours. My Benz is nicer than yours. My house is bigger than yours. My kid's school is more exclusive than yours. It's more expensive than the one that you send your kids to. 50 years out of Jim Crow, they want all of that. My man is richer than yours. That's what this is about. It's about sitting next to white women and defecating on them. Because the neoliberal assessment of other human beings mean that you're also doing that to yourself. And so if you're judging yourself that way, the way you validate yourself is by having nicer, bigger, air quotes, better things, right? And because the shadow of patriarchy still is there, the men are supposed to provide it. Guess what that means for black men? And then guess what that means about the way you think about yourself. Ma'am, you're speaking about your inferiority complex. Could some of your inferiority complex be informed by your same worldview being pushed on you by other black women, older black women than you? Black women are lesser because black men haven't built, and black men haven't built because they're lesser human beings. If they're even human beings, if we'll even acknowledge that much, right? All right, you guys. Like, share, subscribe, hit that super chat or hit the thank you on the way out. I will pause right here, right? Love, peace, and chicken grease. You know. If y'all want me to make a part 2, say something in the comments after the video. I mean, sorry, a part 3, because I didn't finish her video. I got a few more minutes left. But I'm gonna leave this alone after this, regardless. If I make a part 3, that is. Because it's not just about her, right? Whenever you see me critique these people, these divestors, these swirlers, it's never just about them, unless they say something egregious. And the bar for egregious is super high because they keep on talking like this. So I don't know what they have to say for it to be egregious. But yeah, so once again, I'll pause right here. Love, peace, and chicken grease. All right, everyone. Mr. Z out.